Hi, Michael Buffer here, and you are watching Lights Out.
This is Festival Khan for Lights Out, and with me via Zoom, I'm delighted to be joined by Mr. Billy Nelson. Billy, good evening to you, mate. How are you doing? You okay?
Everyone's fine, thanks. Hi.
Yep. How are you finding the current situation? Going back into lockdown as of Thursday onwards in the UK. Obviously not ideal, but what have you made of it?
Well, you just have to do what you've got to do. I mean, we have to come down to England and spar most of the time anyway, so I think we get an exemption to come down and spar and do our work because Martin's a professional athlete. So we've just got to do what we're doing, abide by the rules that the government put out. Although we're not in lockdown in Scotland, but we're not going to be up there much for out of the fight.
I mean, was you all surprised when you heard that England were going into a second lockdown, or did you sort of see it coming due to the amount of cases that had been rising over the last few weeks?
Well, I think everybody's seen it coming, didn't they? I think it was inevitable it was going to happen.
Let's talk a bit about your man Martin Bakole. We understand he's been sparring with Joe Joyce as of late, helping Joe Joyce prepare for his fight with Daniel Dubois. Just talk to us about those sparring sessions. How's Martin been getting on, and how's his preparation for his next incoming fight coming along as well?
Well, in fairness, this is really Martin's only second spar, proper spar, competitive spar for a few months now. But he done today. Done particularly well. I kind of for the second spar, knowing that we've still got 4 weeks to go, I'm very happy.
Martin Bakole, could you just confirm he's meant to be out? Is it in December the
12th?
December the 12th, right? Has there been any name or any perhaps a potential?
We're fighting Sergei Kuzmin. I was supposed to fight him. I think it was in September, August, September time. Then it was November, but it's now the 12th.
Okay, Sergei Kuzmin. And, right, Sergei Kuzmin, what type of a fight does he bring to Martin Bakole on the night?
Sergei brings a wealth of experience, both, a very accomplished amateur. He actually stopped Joe Joyce in one round in the amateurs. But he's boxed Higovic in the amateurs. I've watched all those fights. He's got an identical record to Martin, 15-1. Both have been beat with Michael Hunter. So it's a good crossroads kind of fight.
Both fighters with the same record, beaten by the same man. It's a massive fight in terms of going forward in their careers. Obviously, I know you can't look too far ahead of your next opponent, but what do you want next for Martin if he is able to get past Sergei Kuzmin? Where can you really see him pushing on to in 2021?
Martin could win a world title in 2021, but first and foremost, as you say, we can't look past that. Sergei Kuzmin has got our sole focus for the 12th of December. But to answer your question, Martin's capable of fighting anybody, and I mean anybody on the planet. And on his night, he could beat anybody on the planet. Sorry.
You work obviously closely with Martin Bakole as well. I know you have a lot of faith in him as well. Another fight that you wanted to see him in a couple of months ago was against Dillian Whyte. Now we also know Alexander Povetkin's had to pull out of that fight against Dillian Whyte. The second fight, their rematch. Dillian Whyte is now looking for an opponent.
He's not looking for an opponent. I don't think. I think they've not said they're going to reschedule it in January.
I think, judging by Eddie Hearn's latest interviews and his Instagram posts, they would like to find another ideal opponent. I've heard talks of perhaps a Chisora. They're even interested in fighting Tyson Fury on December the 5th. You've spoken about the Dillian Whyte fight in the past, him fighting Martin Bakole, and you've obviously mentioned how confident you are in Martin Bakole beating Dillian Whyte.
Mm-hmm.
What gives you that confidence in Martin beating Dillian Whyte on the night?
He's a better fighter. He's more skillful. He's quicker. He's stronger. He's more athletic. He's a better fighter.
I wanted to get your thoughts on Dillian, parting ways with Mark Tibbs. I mean, they both, achieved a lot together. They both beat good opponents. Martin took Dillian onto another level. It just seems sort of surprising that the split was so close before that first fight with Alexander Povetkin. Do you think that sort of had a part to play in perhaps Dillian's defeat to Alexander Povetkin?
Well, it's not really for my place to say what happens with a trainer and another fighter, but he's kind of contradicted himself a couple of times by saying, Wilder should have stuck by his coach and he got rid of Martin. Lo and behold, he gets stopped in the fight. But listen, these things can happen. We can say things in the spur of the moment, but Mark Tibbs is an excellent coach, and I think he was great for Dylan White. Dylan White, I think, went to Mark after he lost, or shortly after he lost to Anthony Joshua, and he's improved enormously as a fighter. And a lot of the credit should go to Mark Tibbs. And well, it's in my eyes, it's Dylan White's lost. Mark Tibbs has now gained Billy Joe Saunders, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And a few other fighters. I don't think Mark will ever be short of work because he's a very good coach.
Obviously, I mentioned the Eddie Hearn stated he would like to have Dillian White get in the ring on December 5th with Tyson Fury. Me personally, I don't see that quite happening. There's been a lot of talks of Ajit Kabayel being the number one choice due to the fact that Fury Wilder 3 is now not happening. What chances do you give Ajit Kabayel on December the 5th? Because he is now the number one choice. We just called it to Frank Warren. We're waiting for him to sign. That fight will be finalised. What chance do you give Ajit Kabayel going into that fight with Tyson Fury on December the 5th?
Well, I've seen Kabayel spar Anthony Joshua, and believe me, he's a very competent fighter who has got a good skill set, and you'd underestimate him at your peril. He's a very, very competent fighter, but I do believe that Tyson Fury should be taking care of him and will take care of him.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you mentioned, he's a very good fighter. He sparred with Anthony Joshua. He's 20-0, former European champion, beating Derek Chisora. I don't think, many of the boxing world are giving him the credit that he deserves. It is a good test for Tyson Fury. We obviously know that Tyson Fury was scheduled to face Deontay Wilder in the third fight. That fight's not happening now. Doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the video that Deontay Wilder released the other day, branding Tyson Fury a thief, saying that he put something in his gloves to dent the side of Deontay Wilder's face, and of course his comments about Mark Breland.
It was a wee bit embarrassing, I thought. As I said in our previous interview, let's just put our hands up and say the best man won on the night. I mean, it could be on the night, but if somebody's comprehensively beaten you the way Tyson Fury had that night and then stopped you, even if his corner's really put, he was going to get stopped that night. There's no doubt about it. You just put your hands up and say you get beat with a better man. People will think better of you for it, and then have your sole focus on trying to get revenge on him, try to get a rematch and try and win the fight against him a second time. Just put your hands up and say somebody's better than you. There's nothing wrong with that.
I've always believed in boxing, especially within rematches and trilogies, sometimes even a fourth fight, that you know how good a fighter is with what he's learned from the previous fight. Now, we all saw in the first fight between them two, Tyson Fury, in terms of, technically and skill-wise, he was way better than Deontay Wilder in the first fight. The performance of Deontay Wilder in the second fight showed that he perhaps maybe never learned anything from the first fight. Who would you put that down to, Billy, being a fellow trainer like yourself? Do you put that down to the management and the training team, or do you just put that down to the fighter, Deontay Wilder himself?
Well, you can't put it down to management. Management has nothing to do with his training regime. And for all we know, he might have just ignored the game plan against Tyson Fury in the second fight and just went and done his own thing. So there's a lot of boxers do that. You can drill into their head the whole full camp and see when it comes to fight night, the game plan goes out the window. But Tyson Fury's a clever fighter. Very, very massive boxing brain. And he was the one that learned from the first fight. He changed his tactics completely and dominated him in the second fight.
We don't know when we're next likely to see Deontay Wilder out in the ring. You know, there were rumors circulating around Twitter that he may be considering retirement. You know, I know you're a fan of the sport. You know, you've worked closely in the heavyweight division now for a number of years. You know, as a fan and as a trainer, what would you like to see Deontay Wilder do next?
Fight again and get the winning feeling again and get yourself settled in a. And if he doesn't take that man back, get yourself a trainer that he trusts. I mean, some of the things he was coming out with was outrageous. You know, the trainer spiked his drink. I mean, for goodness sake, you know, where you get up, you know, unbelievable. But, you know, I think he said a few things that he might sit back in a few months' time and watch and cringe.
Yeah, they definitely.
I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him get back in the ring, maybe February, March, get a win, and try and build his career again.
Obviously, it's a long shot question, but a win on December the 12th against Sergey Kozmin. Would you fancy putting Martin Bakole in there with Deontay Wilder, perhaps in February next year?
The simple answer, my friend, is that Martin would fight anybody. Anybody. If I said to him, we've been asked to fight ABC, he would say yes, and then we just have to work out the deal. That's all. As long as he gets a good deal for himself, he'll fight anybody, and the likelihood is he'll beat them.
What was your thoughts on Saturday night's fight between Alexander Usyk and Derek Chisora?
I thought Usyk won by 6 rounds. I thought Derek's output was quite poor for a man. We were led to believe with David Haye that his fitness was better than ever. One thing doing it in the gym and one thing doing it in a fight. Therein lies the difference between a trainer and somebody that's not a trainer. A trainer will get them to peak for a fight. It sounds to me as though they've tried to get him to peak, or not get him to peak, but he's peaked in the gym possibly, and left the fight in the gym, because that wasn't a great 12-round performance by any manner of means, in my opinion.
It's obviously, you know, that fight was.
I mean, I'll return the question to you. The Dylan White, Derek Chisora first fight was just a war, a brilliant fight, high output, give take. If that Derek Chisora turned up last Saturday night, the result could have been so much different. But it was nothing like that fight, was it?
No. Do you believe that the performance in the second fight against Dillian White would have been enough to have beaten Alexander Usyk on Saturday night? Because
it would have been a lot closer. A lot closer. You know, remember, Usyk's a clever fighter. He's one of the best out there. Clever fighter.
Sorry to disturb you, Billy, but a lot of people reckon that Chisora's performance in the second fight against Dillian White was probably better than the first.
Quite possibly, aye. Oh, equally as good, but the first fight was a cracker as well.
It was, yeah.
It was very close. I mean, certain people thought Chisora won the first fight. It was very close. There was only one round in it, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
But my point being, either one of those fights, if he performed to that level, why did they not perform to that level on Saturday night?
Yeah, 100%. Well, obviously, I guess these are questions that Derek will probably have to answer. Many people thought he put on a good performance. Derek, even himself, thought he won the fight.
Did you?
I thought my scorecards was I had Usyk up by a couple of rounds. I had Usyk up by 3 rounds. I thought Usyk.
You had Usyk up?
I had
by 3 rounds.
By 3 rounds, yeah, my scorecards. I thought Derek.
Well, even if I was a wee bit generous with Usyk, and 6 came down to 4, it's still a clear win.
What can you see Usyk achieving as he goes on in the rest of his career in this heavyweight division? Because the tougher tests do await for Alexander Usyk.
Alexander Usyk is an absolute fantastic fighter, but my opinion slightly changed of him from the weekend, especially his size and punch power. He may have trouble against the bigger guys. I mean, the top hit big guys like your Higoviches, your Joe Joyces, Martin Bakole's, Anthony Joshua, obviously, Dylan White. These guys are big units, good mobility, and their output's quite high. And they could, I think he could have trouble against quite a few of them, because he's like he won't be able to move as much as what he did the other day. People forget Derek's 36, 37-year-old. Usyk's coming under his punches and making him turn, and his legs are getting tired. He looked very tired from the end of round 7 through to round 12, didn't he? Every time he went back to the corner.
Yeah, it was an entertaining fight.
No, hey, listen, credit to both men for a good fight, but I was expecting more from Derek. He's a cracking fighter, toughest, and what a career he's had. But I was expecting a bit more because we were promised more by David Haye, but we got let down.
Yeah,
well, in my opinion, we did.
Yeah, there was a few things David Haye did say during fight week, which made us all think that we would see a total different Derek Chisora. But maybe
But he continually says it, and then he's trying to put him out. If Dylan White was fighting in the 21st still, he would want to put Derek out. I mean, that's insane. After a fight like that, wanting him to get out 3 weeks later.
Yeah, I mean, there was, again, on social media, there's a few questions raised. I mean, why would you, towards David Haye, why would you want to put Derek in such a fight of the same magnitude against Dillian White just 3 weeks later? Would you, what's your thoughts on that?
What Derek Chisora needs is a good 5, 6, 7 week break. Derek needs a long break and then come back again. Not a fight 3 weeks later. One of which, when he lost the first fight and get stopped in the second. What does it sell for Dylan White to potentially beat him again?
I mean, I suppose with the fight being a few weeks away, Dillian's not the type of fighter that wants to sit around and wait. Who knows what could happen in terms of...
There's Michael Hunter saying he's gladly fight him. Martin Bakole would fight him. You're not getting a shortage of opponents. Although, in fairness to Martin, Martin's probably not a pay-per-view fighter as yet, but he will be very soon. But Michael Hunter's more than capable of stepping in.
Do you think that perhaps maybe Eddie Hearn and Dillian White are looking for, and this is obviously no disrespect to any of the other fighters in the division, but do you think they're looking for that name that can perhaps sell on Sky Box Office?
At 3 weeks' notice, you're going to really struggle, aren't you? But in truth, I think they'll wait and reschedule the fight till January because, as I said earlier in another interview, if Dylan were to lose to somebody, anybody on a 2 weeks' notice job, where does he go for there? You better wait and get the fight against Povetkin again, beat Povetkin and regain the mandatory position he had, and hopefully Derek Chisora will get a world title fight because nobody can begrudge him a world title fight.
Yes, it's obviously you make a lot of sense by talking about the risk that's involved if he does lose to another fight in a few weeks' time. Of course, we all know Dillian White is the type of fighter that just like any other top heavyweight, just wants to be out there in the ring. Final question to you: give us a prediction for Dubois versus Joyce.
I would slightly favour Joe Joyce.
Reason being?
Experience and strength.
How do you see Joe Joyce beating Daniel Dubois?
Work rate. Great chin. Oh, he's got a good chin. We've proved that.
Well, it's definitely.
I've always maintained that the winner of that fight will be determined with who's got the best chin.
I agree. It's a fight I don't see going the distance. My personal opinion, I'd be surprised if it went past 6 rounds. I think it's not going to go past 6 rounds.
Who do you fancy? Who do you think will win?
No, it's just one of those fights where I'm just going to have to sit on the fence because I like them both. I
No,
think.
no, it's not a matter of liking them. So what does your gut feeling tell you?
My gut feeling tells me that Dubois is a powerful fighter. He's wrecking everybody that gets in his way. Then I'm also looking at Joe Joyce. I mean, he's got an incredible engine. You know, his experience not only in the professional side of the business, but also he's got that amateur background as well. You know, he's got experience in the Olympics. It's just one of those fights where I'm struggling to pick a winner. I'm just hoping for.
You're just being a potential journalist and sitting on the fence. You're asking me to do you. I'll just tell you what I think. You know what I mean?
No, well, if I was sitting, if I didn't want to give my opinion, I would have not said that I had Usyk up by 3 rounds on Saturday night, didn't I?
What's wrong with saying that? It's your opinion.
No, honestly, Billy, you know, I've been asked this question so many times. I've even done polls on Twitter as well, on social media. It's just one I can't pick a winner for, but it is a fight I'm really looking forward to. But
I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a cracking fight. It should be, aye. But, you know, Martin Bakole tells me that Joe Joyce hits every bit as hard as Daniel Dubois.
His knockout over Ustinov I found very, very impressive last year in Stevenage, and I think that was the one fight where a lot of people got put on notice that Joe Joyce does.
Ustinov, he was old and slow.
I suppose you can't, you know.
I mean, they could pick holes in every opponent that Joe and Daniels had, apart from Brian Jennings, probably. Was it Brian Jennings?
Jennings, the American guy, yeah.
Every other opponent you could pick holes in, but both of them. Each and every opponent they've had, Martin Bakole would be. I mean, draw comparisons with Daniel and Martin. Kevin Johnson, Daniel took 10 rounds against him. Martin played with him and stopped him in 5 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
What about Nathan Gorman?
Sorry?
Nathan Gorman, that's another fighter that Daniel's fought. And obviously I spoke to Nathan the other day. He's looking as well. Is that something you'd be interested in?
We'd fight Nathan Gorman, no problem. I mean, no problem whatsoever.
It's an exciting division, Billy. There's so many fights you can make right now. And as I mentioned, you know, there's fighters like, you know, Alan Babbage, you know, Hugh Fury.
Alan Babbage for Martin Bakole.
You
having a laugh? Come on, mate. Christ's sake. There's levels in this sport. Martin would punch the beard off Alan Babbage. Are you mad? That'd be lambs to the slaughter. And that, with the fullest of respect, Babbage is he's good to watch. He's funny in his interviews. But watch the boxing. Watch him box. You're talking about a world-class fighter, Martin Bakole, and guys like Joe Joyce, Daniel Dubois. Honestly, they'd punch his beard straight off his face. They would.
I'm just certain weight division. You know, it's like I said.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Little beat Babbage if they fight.
Well, it's
Tom Little's a very competent fighter.
I like Tom Little as well. I think he's got a huge set of balls. You know, he never shies away from a challenge.
No, definitely. I mean, did they not take
Majidov on a few weeks' notice?
I know, but no, he fought Hrgovic, and I think he gave him a good fight for about 5 or 6 rounds.
They've spoken very high of Hrgovic as well. And Tom Little never really speaks highly of anyone because he's that sort of character that's just always joking around. But he did say that Hrgovic is the strongest puncher he's ever been hit by. And that interview a few weeks before his fight with Daniel Dubois. But no, as I mentioned, you know, it's a division that's very exciting. It's got so many top contenders in. There's so many names. There's so many potential fights you could make. I mean, there's even other fighters like, you know, Andy Ruiz. You know, let's not forget Jose Parker. So exciting.
before Martin joined Matchroom, I emailed David Higgins trying to make that fight, and AJ's management company are part of Martin's team, and I've asked for that fight before. Joe Parker, I think that'd be a great fight with Martin Bakole.
I love the confidence that you've got in Martin Bakole, and like I said, he's got an impressive record. I really would like to see him in big fights now.
Well, he will get in big fights. I mean, God willing, he takes care of Kuzman, and hopefully, he looks really good doing it. The next year's going to be a big year for Martin Bakole, believe me, because he's been out a year now, and like everybody, it's affected everybody. But hopefully this horrible virus clears up and we can get back to normal sometime early next year. And hoping that we get a good result against Kuzman next year. He could fight anybody.
I know I said but
Michael Hunter said last night that he would gladly do a rematch with Martin, but he would want to fight him in Congo, which might be a bit difficult. But you never know, because the Congolese government have supported his brother, who's the world champion, Makabu Alunga. So they might do likewise for Martin.
I know I said last question, but I'll have to ask you one more. Give us a prediction for Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. in a few weeks.
A prediction for an exhibition.
It's Mike Tyson, though. He's never in an exhibition.
But it's not going to be anything like what you think it's going to be. If either of them get hurt, I mean, have you not seen the footage of Mike Tyson hitting the guy with a left hook and then holding him up because he basically knocked him out on his feet?
I've seen something on Twitter. I believe it was yesterday.
But that's
you don't see in the fight that everybody expects.
No, it's an exhibition. It's meant to be charity based.
Mm-hmm.
No, can I?
Come on, you have to give me a prediction now. Come on, you have to give.
Nobody wins in it, but an exhibition, nobody wins. Both of them will get their hands raised at the end of it. It's for charity, and that's what people have got to remember. They're not going to go and try and knock each other out because there don't want to be one winner.
Yeah, well, listen, with Mike Tyson, you never know. You never know.
No. There'll be an agreement before they get in the ring. I'm positive that'll be the case. Can you imagine if something bad happened in an exhibition where they were meant to be, where it's remember that is and it's clearly stated on the poster, exhibition. That's exactly what it is. It's nothing more than a glorified spar to raise money for charity, a good cause, and that's the way it should be treated.
If something did
for anybody to think anything differently is wrong, I hope they're even wearing headguards.
If something did happen, I mean, I'm pretty sure whoever's sanctioned the fight would be surely held responsible, Billy.
Well, exactly. But that's why there'll be stipulations in place that you're not going to knock somebody out in an exhibition. For goodness sake.
Well, I mean, you say that, but Floyd Mayweather, I believe, at the back end of 2018, had an exhibition in where was it? Against
that was in Tokyo.
And that never in an exhibition way, but
I know. I don't know why he done that. But I can't see it happening in this instance. I certainly hope not.
Only one way to find out. Tune into BT Sport Box Office in a few weeks' time, and there. But okay, yeah, Billy, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate that. I've really enjoyed talking to you. It's my first with you. I think we've covered quite a few topics. Good luck for December the 12th.
Thank you.
And
thank you very much.
We're looking forward to seeing, taking an interest in Martin Bakole's journey. I know you speak very highly of him. And again, another good fighter to add to this all-exciting heavyweight division that we've got right now.
Definitely. Yeah. There's a lot of good fights and a lot of good fighters out there.
And a lot of fights made and a lot of money to be made as well.
Well, they're not in it. It's not a tickling contest. They're in to make a good living for themselves and their family.
100% well said. Okay, Billy, thank you very much for your time. I'll let you crack on with the rest of your evening, and thank you very much for talking to Lights Out.
You're welcome. Thank you.